Studios Foundation. My name is Trevor Henley, and I'm the executive director and founder of Desire to Inspire Studios Foundation. We have with us Raw Feasby, the all-intelligent, all-knowing, prolific woman that she is.
Professor.
And then we have
Feasby.
our Honorable Dr. Mike Pritchard here. And he every once in a while says his words of wisdom. And then we have with us Mark Dale back with us again with RX Safe Marin. And thank you very much for joining us. And Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year
Happy
to you
New
too.
Year. So we have thoroughly enjoyed our conversations with you, and we are looking forward to continuing those.
Yeah.
And today is another day of Mark Dale, and we are really excited.
Really excited.
To have you back.
You guys.
Yeah. We're very glad that you've made it to the top of the speed dial list.
Yes.
And you're in our Rolodex.
Yes.
All the things. So
what you're doing is so important.
Yes,
and
it is.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
He's stunned. He's getting gratitude and appreciation here. That doesn't happen.
It's too early. No, it's been a heck of a holidays. How was yours?
Very good. Very good. It was nice. We took a little time off and got to kick back a little bit, which was unusual. Yeah. And very nice.
Michael?
Same thing. We're dealing with the wife going through her treatments, but everything is going good. And the grandbaby went up to Mark Twain Hart, and he saw snow for the first time in his 5 years.
Oh, man.
Little Russian Irish boy, and he was like going, snow! So he was in heaven.
Beautiful boy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Ra, how about you?
Mine was laid back. We did Christmas low key. We all made it to 12:01 and all went to bed immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
We didn't make it to midnight. Yeah.
Welcome to senior. Okay, anyway.
Shoot. I could do it on accident, but don't ask me to do it on purpose. I made it to midnight on purpose. But no, it was really relaxing, and the kids are enjoying a little bit more free time, being cautiously exploratory, and
Yeah, good.
It
was a quieter.
Yeah.
It was a
Much
quieter,
more mellow.
more reflective,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
People thinking, processing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in our neighborhood for sure.
Yeah.
I got to, the big thing has been the surge. The surge and how it came upon so many people.
Yeah.
The Omicron. I mean, I know so many people who've been positive.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. And the health system was not ready for this other onslaught.
Onslaught, yeah.
You know.
We saw a
I
little
don't think there's
Facebook.
any way they could have been prepared for this. I mean, this feels. I mean, how do you recover, and then how are you in recovery from a grievous wound and then receive another grievous wound, right?
True.
We spent 2020 decimating our healthcare system with hopes that 2021 was going to ameliorate the issue, only to be taken down even further to receive a heavier blow because.
But I think it's this is. I don't know if you saw this article the other day, but there's a huge article in the New York Times about the second new epidemic is going to be mental health. Mm-hmm. They're talking about it, and you're watching because people are beleaguered. Mm-hmm. They're spun out. They're isolating, self-isolating. Mm-hmm. Not always good because that means they're not connecting with everybody. And then, they're getting more bad news daily from family and friends of who has it,
Right.
And so the fear is that we will overwhelm our hospital systems. I talked to my son, who's an ER doctor, and he sounds like he's up against it as well in New Orleans area, like he was when he was in New York at the height of it. So the only thing I think is we got to pray, we got to keep positive, we got to keep thinking that we're going to get through this all together. And we hold the glue to the fabric of the community as those who serve, who help, who assist, and use compassion as the leading thread. Right?
Yep.
That's you and me.
Yeah.
You and me. That's us.
I was asked by the Alcohol and Other Drugs Advisory Board to present to them the first Monday of the year. So that first Monday is always tough because people are coming back from the holidays.
Right.
But the board was fired up. And what I was really hitting on was life expectancy and how the problem with expectancy is you expect to live that long.
Right.
And how differently would you live your life if you knew your expiration date?
Wow. That's a good.
And I nailed it because the whole board came back afterwards. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Hadn't quite thought of that one.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think how you frame it,
Yeah.
and how kind you are each day,
Yeah.
how compassionate you are to others.
Right.
It's huge. We were talking earlier about, there's some people who are just jerks out there.
For no reason.
Well-paid people. Or people with money who you would think would have, no.
Right.
Just unnecessarily
Right.
cruel. Well, in the vein of life expectancy and mortality, it's really like I think a lot. I love mythology. I love pantheons. I love how religion has been created over time through people and how it serves, right?
Yep.
Right.
And we've gotten a lot of things right and a lot of things wrong. And the idea of legacy has kind of lost its depth and its meaning in modern society. And I think if we kind of melded the idea of legacy and the idea of living each day like it might be your last, then we would have a more compassionate idea. Like, what are you leaving?
Yep.
Like, if you're working knowing that you are leaving an impression,
Yep.
what do you want that impression to be? That is your legacy. How will you be remembered? Because nobody wants to be remembered as a jerk.
Yep.
Nobody wants to be remembered as that person that made everybody cry or that person that damaged somebody else.
Right.
And more so, nobody wants to leave not remembered at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, if
I love the marriage. I love what you just did
You know what I mean?
between the legacy, because I've brought that forward to some different school administrators over the years, long-serving administrators who were edging toward retirement. I'm like, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? And it was just like glazed over. It was just like, what
and
the?
it's forward thinking.
It's because they're so wounded. They're exhausted. They're tired. They're overwhelmed. Look, to tell you where we are in America, many of the phone calls I got, Bob Saget, who passed away in Orlando, Florida the other day, he was on Full House. Then he was on America's Funniest Home Videos. He and I have been very good friends for years. I helped him with his sister's charity foundation, Scholioderma. And he was a wonderful man and beloved by everybody. He was raunchy in his comedy act and in his...
Which surprised people.
Just a little bit.
What?
From Full House to
The guy, one of the guys put it best. He goes, "I told you he was funny." See, this is that guy. Robin was like that. He could serve.
Yeah.
He could serve up the sweet, but he could serve up the
Despite
the
spice.
spice. You're like, oh, hello, and the chaplains in the military are going, what are you saying? What's like?
Never mind about that. Never mind about that.
But one of my favorite moments was that when Saget passed away, this is where we are. They started to attack him on social media
Immediately.
for being vaccinated in Florida.
What?
Yeah, they were attacking him. And I was like going, no, this can't be real. And yet it is real. And they've divided the country into emotionally angry. And what I keep telling everybody, we need anger management classes on continuum.
Yeah. It
learning.
should be part of social emotional development.
Exactly. And we should be doing it rather than listening to folks who are constantly giving you news that doesn't do anything but make you more exasperated. How about using this medium as a teaching tool to help others? I teach anger management all the time in the toughest places, juvenile hall, prisons, jails. And one of the things is once you establish calm sanctuary, where people know they can be heard and unburden their traumas, so you understand more where the rage or the anger or the violence came from, we're all good.
Yep.
And it is as well an epidemic, and it leads to what you have to deal with, both the suicides and the overdoses, and this disconnect. Yeah.
That actually leads me right into my first question. I told you I would have questions for you today.
Please do.
I want to spend a little bit of time talking about incarceration versus rehabilitation and how the opioid addiction and how our mental health really affects our incarceration rates and how we can or should be redirecting addiction as a mental health disease and how we should be treating it as a community.
Great question.
And also how we are currently.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people have said the reason why the opioid epidemic has gotten the attention it has is the impact on white people has been much more prevalent in this epidemic than crack. Where was crack? Predominantly in African American communities. It was not as much in the white suburbs.
Right.
And I mean, some people will say, "What are you saying?" No, the truth is the truth.
Right.
Right.
So I think that what happens with
Statistic.
you can't fight that.
Yeah. Even more than just it being a statistic, it's a demographic.
Exactly.
And that is
Exactly.
even more
Yeah.
hard number than
Right.
a statistic.
Right.
A statistic can be manipulated like
There's-
a demographic.
There's a
cannot.
movie out now called Dope Sick
Yep.
about the whole issue.
Yeah.
If you want it explained, go and watch
check
that.
that
I
out.
believe it's on Amazon or Hulu or one of
check
the
that
two.
out.
But I sat there and I said I can't watch it. I'm full up here.
Yeah.
I got stuff to do. I got to stay positive and optimistic and loving and prayerful and meditative. And I can just take so much incoming wounded. And so you have to just remember that we're wearing out the people that, the ER doctors, the nurses, the folks in the ICUs, the folks in mental health. We're doing all these things and we're flying on one wing.
Yeah, and to dial that back a second, I think what happens is you've got this kind of disconnect that occurs, unfortunately, unless it hits your house,
Right.
unless it hits somebody that you love and care about.
Right.
And so it becomes very difficult. And when you look at the amount of impact on first responders, last May I was tied up in an incident where somebody who I knew was found deceased, and I watched the whole process of who responded first, the first responders, and the comments they were making, and say, "Oh, this is our fifth one today." Huh? What?
Yeah, and we don't hear that.
Yeah, and not all were fatal, but I think this was their second or third fatal in the day. And I was like, "What? Really?" And so for them, they do get numbed out. They do get burnout.
Right.
Compassion fatigue, they call it. And
Yeah.
you remember when we had the SLEP meeting, which is School to Law Enforcement Partnership, to break down the pipeline of youngsters going to prisons, keeping schools and police connected to the greater good, the bigger picture. One of the things that we heard was many of our firemen, paramedics were just burned out because they were hurting from going to respond to the fourth time the person is OD'd.
Yeah.
Same person.
On
Yeah.
the same person that OD'd 4 times, and they're suiting up, going on COVID stuff, going in, seeing the same guy, taking him over to the hospital. They give him the Narcan, then they get him better. He goes home, and then 2 weeks later,
But that speaks to my reason why I wanted to bring that to you is that you're treating the symptom, not the illness in that
right?
situation.
Yep, I get it. I know what you're
And
saying.
recognizing addiction as a mental health problem
Right.
changes the story. It changes the script. I have family members who have been in and out of the prison system. I am fairly familiar with how it works. I have been inside San Quentin. I know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Have you had some of the food?
I have not.
Yeah. We could arrange that.
Okay. That sounds great.
That's okay.
Sounds like a place for our next podcast.
One of the greatest prevention tools.
Well,
Anyway.
I went for my history of hip hop class,
Good.
so it was a really interesting experience. But to recognize how detrimental incarceration would be to somebody suffering from mental illness and was treating their mental illness with addiction.
So I think that from firsthand experience, I'm going to hit a couple of things.
Yeah.
And I've been to San Quentin, of course, under the Squire program, which I fully support and back up. But as they walk you through the prison and the yards, and that's a lot of people who've been incarcerated, when they refer to different prisons around the state or country, they talk about the yards. That's really what. But there's one place in particular at San Quentin that you walk past and you hear screaming and screaming and screaming. And it's kind of like it's covered and wrapped in that green kind of fabric, so you can't really see inside what's happening. But I asked the folks who were in charge, and they said that's our mental health. And so they're putting all these individuals together who are struggling tremendously in this one unit. And I'm going, wow, interesting. How effective is that?
Not.
1858, that prison was built. And the reason there's archways there is so the big wagons bringing prisoners in could get through that archway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very good.
And well, you know, I've been going over there. I have a picture of myself at San Quentin with Bread and Roses from 1980 with Boss Gags and Mimi Farina and myself and a couple of prisoners. And I think back, we went in and we did a show. I did comedy and emceed the show. And Joan and I believe Mimi sang, and so did Boss Gags. He did the blues. And what was amazing was it was wide open chaos. But it's all shifted and changed, and they're categorizing people now. The main line is not what it used to be, very dangerous. In those days, it was maximum security. But what we know is that no place, even now, any of these places, the staff and the people are at risk for mental health issues because of COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree with you. And I think one other key thing, going back to the incarceration again, is that Dr. David Smith, who is noted as the grandfather of the Haight-Ashbury Clinic.
Great guy,
And
too.
a wonderful man. And
Great
actually, I've
show.
had you guys
Yeah,
together at
yeah,
different things.
right.
And but his point is that until somebody is facing consequences, they tend not to take it seriously enough
Right.
to help themselves to get better.
Right.
And that speaks volumes, because unfortunately a lot of our legislation and law enforcement over the years has really shifted this way down to a citation, hug the person. And so for law enforcement who's trying to interdict and trying to cut off flow, they're like, what's our job now? Because they can't really go after it the same way they need to go after it to help shut down the flow to a community until the community is decimated. You know, we had our losses over the holidays. We lost at least a minimum of 2 young men that I know of. And
Over Christmas holiday.
yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine how devastating that is? Christmas Eve, you go in to wake up your son and gone. You know, so the reality of this thing is very much in our face still here.
Right.
So is incarcerating somebody the right answer?
No.
You know, there's tools in the toolbox.
Right.
But again, certain progressive cities and progressive thinking, okay, clean needle sites. I get that. Shoot up sites. Interesting concept, because hopefully you're getting somebody in that you can wrap them around with services.
Right.
But what do you do?
With shoot-up sites, I think it's dangerous for two health issues, because when they're done, they see this. When you raid places and you walk in and there's just needles everywhere, and the shoot-up sites, and you're like going, whose idea was in San Francisco? Whose idea is this, that if you give somebody something that they have to have, like heroin or methadone or some other drug to numb them out, and then you're looking at that spiked needle, and there's children on the playground right there.
Yep.
And I'm spinning, and this is why the city has had a group of folks leave there, huge, exodus out of San Francisco. And you just want to keep grabbing all of the leaders and going, everybody, you got to get everybody on board. Now, I have been fascinated. Marin is a very safe community. I mean, we've got people that are extremely proactive in all elements, like yourself. Volunteering, too. folks, the man has been doing this so long and with little reward other than sometimes sarcastic contempt for his ideas, which is insane. He's always been and has continued to do nothing but help, which is like, you're like going, wait, stop. Don't disappoint him, please. Because if you take disappointment and it turns to disillusionment, it means to take the light out of. We can't do that, folks. We got to start encouraging and loving and respecting it and pulling together. You know, it's like watching an argument on a lifeboat in the middle of a storm.
What's the point? Why?
Yeah. Why are you? Why do I care who gets to hold the flare gun?
Well, I think that also, if we tie that back
Good
into
answer.
the beginning
Thank
of
you.
this, going back to life expectancy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Exactly.
I feel very fortunate that I didn't understand it as a kid, but I didn't expect to live past 30.
Right.
Right. And when I realized that, I was in my early 20s, like 24, 25, I guess mid 20s, I guess. And then it was like, well, if I make it past 30, I will live to 110. Right. But I didn't really believe I was going to live past 30 with all of my life habits and choices. And so for me, I feel like everything is grateful. Like everything is gravy after 30.
And what you're doing now is compensating
Right.
and redeeming lives.
Right.
And these kids that are working with us and the staff,
Right.
Well,
you know,
it's the thank you for making it past 30.
Yeah. It's like I thank
Exactly.
every day I wake up and I go, I'm alive. Thank you. I got another day.
Exactly.
Well,
you know, but it's going back to what you said, making the best out of every day you
Yeah,
can. And
can.
I think that one of the things that I found in all the work and speaking and being present with everybody is if you haven't had a life dramatic change where you almost lost your life or you should have or
Right.
something like that, you don't understand. And you like going back to the impact, right? If I'm not impacted, I don't care.
Right.
And
Right.
that shouldn't be the way it is, right? Because it's only a matter of time before you need to care because it's going to impact you
It's
one way
going
or
to-
the other.
So I was gonna to speak on that. Humans, like they've done studies, and humans have our brains are not designed to compound expectancies. So we can do immediate strategization. We can do tactical moves to a certain degree, right?
right.
But after it's like it's why one death is tragic, but we can't fathom 10,000. We can't fathom 100,000. That number just doesn't compute.
Right.
And you spoke of consequences, how people can't make changes until they are confronted with consequences. And I think one of the things that I've worked really hard to explain to my children is that consequences are good or bad or neutral, but there is always a consequence. Your actions will result in a reaction, and that reaction will result in a reaction from someone else or yourself or something else.
Brilliant.
And the easiest way for me to impart that on my little ones is to ask them how they expect their engagement with each other to play out. And
Good idea.
you
Great
know,
parenting.
if you're playing with your brother and you hit him, what do you expect to happen? How do you expect for him to react to that?
Tit for tat.
Is he going to hit you back? Is he going to be upset? Is he going to not want to play with you? And how is that going to make you feel?
How did they respond?
They think about it
Good.
and they talk to
That's
me.
all you
They
gotta do
run
is
through it.
seed
But-
'em.
But it's the minimization of the butterfly effect. The giving young people, because their minds are so elastic.
Yes.
They're so easy. They can grasp concepts in a way that
Malleable.
our more solidified brains can't do. But if you teach a young person that if sad leads to drugs, that's not where it ends.
Yep.
It leads to sad mom. It leads to sad dad. We're not even getting to
Them.
the life shortened life expectancy yet. I want us to be able to get to a point where we can explain to young people who are looking at drugs that the good time is the most minor of all the consequences that can be expected.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that reframes it.
in the good time.
Yeah.
I love it. A couple quick things. So expectations. My dad was a great psychologist, and he said the problem with expectations is if the bar is high, if you don't hit it, even if you come close to it,
Yeah.
you're still not satisfied.
Yeah.
If you set that expectation bar lower, then
Yeah.
you're able to achieve and get over it. You're able to. So a lot of times our kids in high performing Marin, you've got this situation where they feel like abject failures
Yeah.
because they don't see that they're
14-year-old
able
burnout.
to.
Right, because they couldn't get a 5.0 or a
Yeah.
B is top of the
Yale,
line with the
Harvard,
other
Princeton, Bryn Mawr, Wellesley. I didn't get in. Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm a
The world
failure.
is over.
Right.
I'm a failure. I'll never be anything. I'll
Right.
never get anything done.
Which is devastating.
It's insane.
kid. Yeah.
How can you do that? You know, and it really is amazing because when you look at different countries around the world, one of the times when I was a kid, I was invited to go on a trip to Jamaica. And people were saying, "Oh, you're going to see so much poverty, so much poverty." No, when I was
You see
over
a
there,
whole bunch of happiness.
I saw
whole
I
bunch
saw
of
people
happiness.
smiling.
Whole bunch of happiness.
You go around
Always.
Marin, how
Yep.
many people are not smiling and they're multi-million-dollar wherever,
Right.
and their kids are miserable. Their kids are hitting the pot, hitting the vodka handles or whatever, trying to numb themselves
Yeah.
instead of engaging and trying to get to someplace
This
successful.
is why when you play Monopoly, you have to play and watch people. And this used to make me laugh because if you played it at juvenile hall with the kids and taught them the game, one or two of them would always try and cheat. You're like, God, wait, no. You got a 6 and you only had a 4 there on the dice. So no, you don't get to do that. And they would get so upset because, and now in lieu of everything, think about this. A kid at juvenile hall, you have to tell them what the rules are. We had people in politics who don't believe there's rules for them either, right? And so they're playing Monopoly
Yeah.
on our board.
I wasn't sure where you were going with
Yeah,
that, but
I was
you did
waiting.
good there.
I was
That
waiting for it too.
That was
Yeah,
good.
with our Monopoly money,
Yeah.
and they're blatantly cheating and expecting us to sit there and take it.
take
And
it.
you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So we are already at our half-hour
I'm
mark.
so sad.
Yeah.
There's not enough time.
There's not enough time.
There's not enough time for me and Mark to hang out.
Let's go another.
So maybe
Let's go again.
next week we just have Mark and you on the show.
I think. Is that okay?
I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think you should.
Mike
yeah.
and I can just sit back there and watch.
have
But
so
I
many
think
things
if
that I
we're
wanna
doing
talk
that, we
to you
should
about.
have this look on our face.
It'll be
So
like
many
mentally
things that
recording,
I wanna
you
talk
know.
to you about. I want to pick your brain about your dad too. My degree's in psychology, and I think that it is
Would love to.
a
Would love to.
fascinating area. I think it's incredibly behavioral sciences is
Right.
not getting the use that it should have.
Oh yeah.
And
And actually, you're spot on. So next time I'm going to tease it with this. I can't wait to get together because co-occurring disorders is really where you keep on heading toward. Is that if somebody has to numb themselves, there's another problem going on. It's not just the substance; it's something
Yeah.
else.
exactly.
I do want to mention somebody because news just broke on
Yeah.
this in the last few days. So somebody in our county who's been very important in the education world here, Mary Jane Burke,
Yeah.
has announced that she is not going to be
Not okay with
running
that.
again. She's
So
going to be
because she's
retiring.
not running, she's just automatically a go, and she's in for the
Right.
remainder
Yeah,
of
yeah,
time,
yeah.
Till
right?
23. Yeah.
Auto.
No. I mean, like
Yeah.
until
Forever.
Oh,
administration.
oh, forever.
It's
yeah.
it's
She
not
no
renewal.
longer needs to run.
Yeah.
It's just an automatic.
Well, no, she's not going to run.
I know.
Yeah,
Well, she
I know.
doesn't-
But-
We're all just devastated.
But the thing is, you can clearly, this speaks to 5 or 10 of my friends from the local community who are exhausted. And I'm not saying that about Mary Jane. I'm just saying I have 5 or 10 friends. Left the police department, left fire service, left there like I
You're done.
gotta
You're
be
burnt
done.
out.
Sorry.
What
So-
were you
so-
gonna
Yeah,
say?
what were
what
you
did
going to
you
say? We all fully
We
interrupted
did.
that.
We-
Legacy.
Yes.
Going back to legacy.
Woo!
And I
That's
think
the
that
point.
that really, when you see someone who has given their life so long in that position in Marin County
Yeah.
and has really tried to help in so many ways. And
Yeah.
people don't realize that, how many things she
She
really,
was very helpful to my daughter,
you know,
very helpful.
and it's just, I think that When I first called her the first time and said we were in trouble, and I asked her if she knew what robo-tripping was, she said, I honestly don't, but I'll find out. And she opened up the doors at Marin County Office of Education. Michael and I are both in the School Law Enforcement Partnership. She ingrained so many ways of bringing people together,
Yeah.
To solutioneer.
not divide,
Right.
not being exclusive, but inclusive.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be a loss. Whoever is going to step up and go for superintendent in this county, I wish them well and I hope. But again, when you've got that longevity
Yeah.
and the power that she has statewide,
Yeah.
because she's, I think, the longest serving superintendent
Yes.
in the state of
And the
California.
wisest emotionally ever.
She's really good at bringing people. So
I know
God
we're
bless her.
supposed to be leaving, but I don't understand. So okay. I know.
It's nice to be in charge, isn't it? And just be like, you know what? Screw it. We're continuing.
We're continuing. We've got a little bit more time.
Go ahead.
Says the boss. Right,
You
Grimshaw?
can't see my smile, but it is wicked. I'm always intrigued by positions like this, positions where a passing down of knowledge seems to be like we have a change of command for the presidency. You know, we have a change of command as offices move from one person to the next. And it's for, making sure everybody's up to date. It's for making sure that all the important information is passed along to the right people. In a situation where you have somebody who has created such a vast network of inclusivity, of somebody who has really created a culture within the community that serves,
So well put.
why would we not have like this a melding? Like I know that it's a voted in position. I know that somebody has to run and to win. But from the win, why would not there be a period of education, of growth, of mentorship, of camaraderie, of taking the old and the new and blending something for a continued
Mary
movement
Jane will
forward?
absolutely do that. She
Yeah,
will
it's-
do that.
It's transitioning.
Yeah,
You know what ghosting is?
Yes.
This is not ghosting.
Okay, good.
She's
I
given
wasn't
she's
sure
given
that-
a 1-year notice,
Uh-huh.
effectively saying that I will not be here after January whatever of 2023.
Okay.
And this is about transition.
Right.
So whoever is going to be elected in, it would happen, I believe, in June.
Yes,
is
in
the
June, yep.
election, and from there, if there's contenders, and
Yeah.
they have to do a special election further.
Okay.
But also, she's got such a structure built at Marin County Office of Education.
Yes.
That she does have assistant superintendents.
Yeah.
She does have people in the right positions. And if I could say one more thing,
Yeah, of course.
the average person does not understand the educational structure.
Nope.
I did not understand it. It took
do
me a
not.
little bit of a while to kind of wrap my head.
Yeah.
Because even I asked Mary Jane at one point, I said, Mary Jane, a lot of people think you're like the boss of superintendents. You're the boss. She's not. She's not, really. And she said, and her answer was great because she says, what's more important? Being in that position or somebody who can influence everybody?
Right. Input. She gets input, and that's what makes the difference.
Yeah.
Because she is a leader. She is a leader.
And I think in
And
Marin County, we have 19 school
emotionally.
districts,
It's
Yeah.
huge.
which a lot of people go, what?
Yeah, it's crazy.
We're a
19
tiny
school
little
districts.
county. Why do we have 19 school districts? And yeah.
Because, well, I think that people, one of the things
could
I
be in a
keep
whole
telling
nother
everybody is
show.
they want to hold on to their local.
Right.
Same with the police
there's a
departments and
lot
things
of-
like that.
Yeah,
yeah.
Everybody wants their own local close. I want them close. I want them available, and I want them able to be listening to what I say.
Yeah.
And what do you do here?
Well, I row the rowboat in the middle of the
The left
story. So,
Set him up. He slammed it down the fairway. There it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for
Yes.
joining us for Donuts for Breakfast
Good
this
job.
Thursday. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm going to steal Trevor's line and say, smile at someone, share your story, continue to be people helping people. Join us next Thursday. We will have Mr. Markdale on again if he will allow it.
Yes.
And maybe without Michael and Trevor.
And maybe or maybe not. We might let them come in half baked. We'll see. But I hope you join us and have a blessed day.
Nice.
Blessings.
Yeah.